a themed city, we'll talk about theme in a second. Okay, these are your required locations that must be included to get your credit. Okay, and I'm going to talk about where your points are coming from in just a little bit. But these locations are required. There are additional locations that you have to include, but you have some choice in what they are and where they go. Okay, but these bulleted ones at the top must be included. Okay, it says as you design and your city map, you're going to use these guidelines below. Now you can make your map, your product that you're going to submit to me for your grade. You can do it on paper. Okay, so you can do it on paper. That means you can draw or you can cut out pictures from magazines or from photos that you take or find online. Okay, or you can do this, you can create your map digitally. So you could do something in Word or Canva or PowerPoint, and you could like copy and paste images you find online or like stock images in Word and things like that. Or you could even take your own photos and put them in there too. Okay, so you can do it on paper or you can do it digital. Okay, you have some choice there on what you want to do. Now, what you have to include, okay, you're going to use this template of the roads that I give you. So I have a hard copy of this. Does not have to be there. Let me delete that for you. Okay, so it's got 3 parallel lines. These are representing your roads. So there's 3 parallel roads and 1 transversal. Remember, the transversal cuts through the other roads. You can add, excuse me, you can add more roads, but this is the basis you have to start with, okay? So when I say you can add roads, okay, if you're doing this in Words or in Word or Canva or some other program, okay, so you know you can add lines, okay, and I could add another road. I could add one over here, like where all these dead end into this road. Okay, and you can change the color of your roads or lines or things that you add, and you can make them thicker and stuff. So you can play around and you can add roads, okay? But those that are there to begin with is what you have to have. You could add it to the end. You could add it intersecting here, going right through the middle. You could make it go at a different angle. You could make it parallel to the other transversal and have something like this, okay? What roads you add and where you add them is completely up to you, okay? But you are you are definitely going to have to add at least 1 road, because if you only have these 3 intersections, that's 4 corners at each, right? 4 angles at each, that's 12. And if you look at your required buildings, there's 14. Okay, so you're going to have another intersection because all of these places have to be at an intersection, and each intersection can only have 1 building. So just be careful and make sure that you follow all of these rules here. So you have to name your city in its theme. All of the buildings have to be labeled. You can name them in your theme as well. The roads have to be labeled and named. Okay, so make sure every road is labeled. And then here, numbers 3 through 10, or actually 3 through 9, these are like the geometry part of it. Okay, this is talking about the angle relationships. Okay, these two, the park and the bank, have to be corresponding angles. Okay, the restaurant and the office building have to be alternate interior, etc. So you have to go through and make sure that all of these are located to where they have this angle relationship with the building listed. Does that make sense? Okay, and I put these little blanks over here to the side so you can kind of check off as you draw these or input these into your project, to your city map. You can check it off as you do it so you know what you need to still do. Okay, and then after you have all of those buildings in, hang on one sec. After you have all those buildings in at the required places, then 10 through 12 down here, these are things that you need to add. So number 10 says you need to include at least 3 either traffic lights or stop signs or emergency signs of some sort. okay, for the safety of your city. So at least 3, you can put more, but 3 minimum. Okay, you need to include 3 additional locations to what is listed at the top. Those can be your choice. Like you could put in a fast food or a salon or an amusement park. Okay, you could put in a water tower, a coffee shop, apartment complex. There's lots of choices here. It does not have to be one of these I listed. I just tried to help you get with some ideas. Okay, but you can pick something else if you want. But the 3 extra buildings or locations are your choice, and where they go are your choice. They don't have to be at an intersection. These have to be at an intersection, but the ones that you're adding could be like here in the middle of a straightaway part of your road. Does that make sense? Okay, that's not an intersection where I'm pointing right here. So it could go right, one of my add-ins could go here, or one of my add-ins could go here because there's not an intersection there. Good? And then the last thing that you have to add in is the, let's see, the safety stuff, the 3 locations. Oh, the beautify your city. We want to make the city nice to attract tourists and help people get out and about. So you can put things like walking or biking paths, a body of water. You could have like a lake or a beach or something in your town. You could have a garden, or just add some trees or shrubs. Okay, a sculpture or a fountain. Just things that help make it look nicer. Does that make sense? All right, now, bonus alert. You have an opportunity to get some bonus points. Some of y'all could really use some bonus points because you've got some late work or missing work. Okay, speaking of, you can still turn in your missing work. Nothing's too late. But if you have some low grades because it was turned in late or it was incomplete, whatever the case, you can get some bonus points here. So if you want to add 3 additional items, they can be more buildings or more beautification things. That's up to you. You can get 2 extra points for each extra item that you have, each extra location. Okay, if you flip over to the back, here is what the grade is going to be based off of. You can see every point is accounted for. So if you don't name your city, there's 3 points you lost already. Name your city. Okay, all the roads are named. 8 points because there's at least 4 roads. That's 2 points per road. Okay, the locations are the biggest points because that's what we're really practicing here, those angle relationships. Okay, all of your buildings are labeled. There should be 14 of those buildings that were required, need to be labeled. Okay, a point each. And then the add-ins, the traffic lights or signs, the 3 additional buildings, the 3 beautification. Okay, and then accuracy and neatness. Are your lines straight? Is your writing legible? Can I read it? Okay, that's some points. And just like your creativity, that's like having your theme and everything being in theme, that's some points. Okay, and then you have bonus points possible. So you can get up to 110, and it's a triple daily grade. That is more than a quiz. A quiz is a double daily grade. This is triple. So this is more than your quizzes, more than your daily grades. Okay, but it's not quite a test grade, but it can help your grade a lot, which means it can also hurt your grade a lot if you don't do it or don't do it correctly. Okay, so it's very clear here what's required. Make sure that you meet all of these. Okay, it is due by Tuesday. We're going to look at the calendar, but notice it says I'm going to accept it late through Thursday without penalty. So I'm not going to take off late points. You can turn it in. Let me go to our course. You can turn it in Thursday, and I'm not going to take any points off. But if you turn it in by Tuesday, if you saw on there, it said you get some bonus points. So turn it in by Tuesday and you'll get some bonus points. Okay. If you wait till Wednesday or Thursday, you won't get the bonus points. Good. All right. Now on Canvas, where it says project, we're working on it. You have till lunch today to brainstorm and kind of start sketching ideas. You have all class tomorrow to work on it and Monday. If you end up finishing tomorrow or you finish over the weekend, Monday is now an extra review day for you. Y'all have the review. You can work on that Monday. Okay, because right now we only have review day on the 7th on Tuesday. So if you finish your project early, you get more review time. Okay, so that's kind of up to you how you use your time. But you've got these 2 class periods. I want it turned in by Tuesday for the bonus points. And if you need to keep working on it in cat tracks or at home or something and get it to me by Thursday, you can do that. Okay. Does everybody understand when they need to turn this in? Yes. Okay. Now here it says at the top, if you are doing a paper project, you're going to turn it in like we do all our papers back here in the paper tray. Unless it's too big, you can just hand it to me. I'll stack it. Okay. But if it's digital, okay, if you're doing it on your computer, you're going to have to submit it on Canvas, and that you're going to upload it as a PDF. It's got to be saved as a PDF. So whether you do Canva or Word or PowerPoint or some other program that you may have on your home computer, okay, I don't care what program you create it in, but it's got to be saved as a PDF for you to be able to upload it. Does that make sense? Okay, whether you turn in a paper project or a digital project, the rubric that's in your hand that we're going over right now has to be turned in. This hard copy, not online. You're going to turn in this rubric because this is what I'm going to write on and put your points and put comments and put your grade on. Okay, I'm not going to write on your actual project. I'm going to have your project and your rubric next to it when I'm grading it. So I need you to turn this rubric in. You'll have your name on it. In your period, you'll have the name of your city and you'll have your theme. Okay, besides that, don't write anything over here. This is for me to write in, okay? You can write all over this side to kind of check and mark off and highlight and stuff as you do things, okay? All right, now let's look at some examples and what I mean when I say theme. Okay, so here's an example of a real basic one done like in Word. Okay, so they put some roads, they added some trees, a traffic light, and a stop sign. Now, this is not meeting the requirements of your rubric. Okay, yours is different. This is just a sample for you to look at. But you can see they just found photos. I don't know if they took photos or they went and found these on the internet, and they just clipped them, like copy and pasted them into here, and then labeled them. Okay, so you could see the apartment and the Walmart. These are same side interior, right? Okay, the post office and the school. These are alternate interior. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. You just need to make sure you get it in the right location for what's in your instructions. You can add roads to make more intersections if you need to. But this is a real basic one. Can look like this, or they can get real fancy. I'm going to show you some others to give you some inspiration. Here's somebody who did it 3D. They actually built out little things with cardboard or paper. Okay, and this one, I don't expect you to do this, but I just wanted to show you because the theme. When I say a theme, they named this Angleton. And then all the buildings, this is Scalene School. Okay, horizontal hardware. Okay, heptagonal house. Okay, so things are named in the theme of your town. Does that make sense? Okay, if you have some really cool program where you can make a 3D city on the computer, more power to you. I don't know how to do that, but that's an idea if you do know how. Okay, you could do it on graph paper. You could just sketch it out on graph paper. I've got graph paper if you want to use that. Okay, and make it pretty simple and just use shapes and name them and color code them. That's fine too. Okay, somebody tried in Desmos. Okay, they like plotted lines to make their roads and plotted points and named them for like stoplights and buildings. Okay, you could try that. That seems kind of complicated, but if you want to give it a go for it. Okay, here's a little more in-depth digital one somebody did online. They just used lines for their roads, okay, and they named them. And then they put in like clip art, okay, or stock images for their things, okay. And you can see they added a lake and they added like a, whatever this is, a little playground or something. Okay, so you can do it. It could look something like this if you do it digitally, or it could look even more detailed. You don't have to have everything labeled on it. If you make like a legend or a key off to the side, that's fine. You could do that. Okay, or it could be real basic like this. It doesn't even have to have color. Color is not in the requirements. Okay, so you can have your streets and then just put like squares or rectangles in for your buildings and label them. As long as they're in the correct angle locations that are on the rubric, then you're good. Okay, it can be basic, it can be fancy. Here are some hand-drawn ones. Okay, so they drew the roads and they drew the buildings just as shapes. Okay, this one's more of like a bird's eye view. You can see they drew in the extra stuff like a lake and trees and stoplights, but then the buildings are just these blue shapes. They just used shapes and labeled them for their buildings and put them at the corners. Okay, so that's a more basic one. Here's a pretty fancy one. If you're real artistic and you're a good drawer, you can make it look like a 3D drawn city. That's cool too. Okay, if I tried to draw, it'd probably look more like this. Like I'm more of an elementary level drawer. I'm almost done, I promise. Okay, but I just want you to have ideas of what your project can be. You can get real detailed, you can get real basic, as long as you meet the requirements on the rubric. Does everybody understand that? All right, last thing is theme. Some people are like, I don't know what you mean theme. Theme can be anything you want. Do something that you like or are interested in. Okay, so you could do Barbie theme, you could do math theme, Fortnite, Disney, sports. Okay, here I listed a ton of stuff here to give you ideas. You do not have to pick something from this list if there's something else you want to use as your theme. But let's say you can get real specific. Like you could do sports in general, or you could say baseball specifically, or you could say Astros specifically. And your streets could be like Altuve Avenue and Jordan Way, whatever you want them to be. Okay, or like you could do MLB themed. Okay, so when I say a theme, you can get real broad or real specific. Okay, music in general or real specific, like a genre, rock and roll, or an artist, Taylor Swift. Y'all get what I mean when I say a theme? All right, so you've got options there. All of this is included here. If you click on where it says project on our calendar, you're going to find all of those. Okay, you've got the theme and inspo there. You've got the road template. I have hard copies if you're going to want a hard copy, or you can have it here digitally. Okay, the rubric in case you lose it. And then this link that says visual representations, if you are struggling with what the angle relationships are or where that would be in your map, if you go to this, this link will take you to this website here where you can click these check marks over here and it's going to show you. So here's your corresponding angles. Here's your vertical angles. Here's your alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side interior, same side exterior. So, and you can move these lines around to match how your streets are drawn if you really need to see it that way. Okay, so you've got some help here with figuring out those angles if needed. That is linked right there. Okay, and all of it's here. If you want to use the snipping tool here, everybody has the snipping tool that lets you take like little pictures of things on your screen and paste them in places. So that's going to be useful. Now, one thing I wanted to show you when you go to add things and how to move them around in Word, and I think Canva is pretty similar. If I insert a picture or an image, like if I just find a stock image of a building, like let me say building, okay, and I insert this image, I can, one, resize it, okay, so that it's going to fit. And here lets you move it in front or behind everything else so that you can move it around your screen. I suggest behind because sometimes your images are going to have an outline. And so you can make it the size you want, and then you can move it around and you can put it on whatever corner you want to put it on. And then you could add, you could insert text box to do labels. If you just do a basic text box and I say this is City Hall. Okay, you can change your font and size just like normal. Okay, and then you can change, if you right click on that and go to format shape, you can get rid of the fill. So there's no fill and no line. So then you could put it on top of it or next to it or above it, and you're not going to see the lines around that text box. Okay, so, and then you can keep adding things as needed and making sure that you're checking everything off of your requirement list. Questions? Okay, I'm going to post this video, so if you forget how to move things or add things, that's here in the video. Y'all have a good lunch.